If you ever feel like joy and purpose are not there, suddenly excitement, joy are disappeared, and what you left is not really depression, but this kind of sense of emptiness or confusion or frustration, maybe because the mind is trying to understand what is happening and is identifying what is happening with something negative, is comparing this state with the state of before where you were feeling excitement, joy, and movement, and now nothing is there. In your mind makes you believe like something is wrong and you should absolutely feel joy and purpose. And in this video we are going to explore what is left when joy disappear, what always remain. For me, it happened to me several times right now. The first time that I felt this lack of purpose and with this sort of kind of emptiness and depression and confusion, it was 2021. And until then, I felt like I always wanted this creativity and adrenaline. My business was having a lot of success. And suddenly, all disappear, all my ambition, all my goals, all my dreams, all these things that I was attached to it, I really, really wanted to achieve, they weren't important anymore. And I was left with this lack of motivation and emptiness and simply not understanding what's going on. Have I lost my joy? I always felt I was a joyful person, and at that point, I wasn't feeling that kind of excitement that I felt all my life. That left me. And what I discovered little by little in my spiritual path and discovering the non duality in all this teaching is that that period of time where all my attachment, all my belief, all the things that I believe were joyful were taken away from me was necessary for me to discover who I really was. So, in this moment of emptiness, maybe you're believing that something is wrong, but as always, the mind can only believe that something is wrong because it's comparing one state to another. But without the comparison, everything is there. It just is the only thing that is there, is the only thing that exists. And is perfect. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Life can't be wrong. God can't be wrong. And what I want to invite you to observe is even when joy is not there, in the way that you knew joy until now, what is always there? That never change, that can't be moved, untouchable, always there. And we have an idea of joy. There is a joy that comes from exterior things, is a joy that appears and disappears. You really, really want the job, you get the job and you're happy. You really, really want to do this sell as an entrepreneur and you do it and you feel happy. You really, really, really want travel in this place and finally you travel in this place and you finally feel happy. But that happiness is a happiness that comes and go. And the joy that life or God, or call it as you want to point us to, is a joy that can't be shaken. It's a joy that doesn't depend from anything exterior. In fact, what is really funny is that we think the joy comes from this achievement, this goal, this thing that we really, really wanted. But with time I discover, and I invite you really to explore it by yourself, that the joy is actually the stop of the research. When we stop researching these things that we believe we want or we think that will make us happy, joy can emerge itself. So what really making us happy is not the achievement of the house, the travel, the job, the relationship, the money. Is that in this exact moment when we achieve the thing, we are not seeking anymore. And this lack of sickness or the stop of the search let joy that was always there, has always been there, emerge itself. So is the stop of the research that allow us to feel the joy, is not the object in itself. And that's very confusing, and we can be mistaken. I've been mistaken all my life until realizing these things, realizing for real, not intellectually. It wasn't the house, it wasn't the job. There is curtain. It wasn't the job, it wasn't the relationship, it was none of the things that were exterior that was giving me joy. It was that at that exact moment I stopped searching. I stopped suffering from the lack of that thing in my life. And when the research stops, joy can emerge itself, because that's what is left behind. So in this moment, maybe that you don't feel the purpose, you don't feel the joy, you don't feel the excitement. There is a research that is started. The research of this happiness that you thought you had, you really thought you had, and suddenly it disappeared. And so the mind started looking for it, looking everywhere. Why is not there? Where you went? I thought I was happy. And this research is actually what makes us feel empty, dry, confused, and kind of depressed. But when we see that we don't have to look outside anymore, there's nothing to look at, and there's no research actually, we drop it. And when we drop it, when the psychology subside, at that time, in that moment, we can see and feel the joy was always there. It's right here, right now, in the absence of something else, of looking for something else, or in the absence of I need something else to feel happy. And so this process that you're going through, which is an awakening probably, is exactly what is needed for you to abandon the idea of being a me in a world that needs this thing to feel secure. Because this is what the mind makes us believe, that we need to feel secure, and we need the house, and we need the relationship, and we need the dress, the Rolex, the car, the whatever. And it's never been the case, because you've never been a me. And if you feel it with me right here, right now, you can have a sense of this me, this character that seems so real, and everything seems so personal. And this character has to be happy in this story that is experiencing. But who's watching the character then? What is aware of the character? Right now I can kind of have a sense of this character Claudia that is speaking to the microphone with the phone, and I can kind of watching from outside and have a sense of how this can feel personal, and I can feel like a me, and this can feel like a me, like I have a body and I'm here. But if I de-zoom, and if I zoom out, sorry, if I kind of stop for a second, there is a sense of much larger sense of, am I here? Is this me? So am I a me that is supposed to be happy and supposed to achieve some goals and supposed to have all these things in order to feel secure? Or there is consciousness, awareness of everything. And so I can drop this research of joy, and so I can stop this research of feeling like I have a purpose. Who's this I? And I can see that this lack of motivation or movement or knowing where to go, what to do, is perfect. Is the only thing that exists. And if God, awareness, life want it to be there, is the only thing that is there, so it's perfect. And I can let it be. Because there's never been a me in control. There's never been a me with a purpose. There's never been a me that is supposed to be responsible of his own joy. How can you be responsible of your own joy? Who's this me responsible? There's only joy that appear when he will appear, and there's only awareness. So how amazing that you can let this process be without having to control it, without trying to do nothing with it. And of course, the mind is gonna come back and say, I should move and do action and be a me in the war and do profit and this, do that. And that. Of course. But can you watch that emerging like object in experience? Can you see that appearing in the object of experience that you are, of the consciousness that you are, and letting it be without interacting with it, without believing it true, without engaging with it, without reacting to it, and feeling the feeling of discomfort, feeling the feeling of insecurity, and feeling the feeling, or whatever you put the name of the sensation, because it's just a sensation. And okay, right now, the me, the identity, is kind of like breaking a little bit more, and the mind is still want to makes me feel like I'm a me, and it still want control, and it still want to have a purpose, and it still want to achieve goals, and it's completely okay, and it's perfect. And I can let this process be in the same way that a tree let the wind blow its leaves and let them drop in the ground and be completely naked. And it's not hoping for having the flowers and the fruits when right now is a season of being naked. Is a season of drop everything, be free of everything, because it's only in this emptiness and this presence that something can emerge. But if I'm constantly looking for having the flowers and blooming, I will never actually experience the silence that this season of autumn is asking me to experience, because I'm constantly comparing with something else and constantly believing the blooming is better than falling. Can you rest in the state without wanting something different? Because that different is no better. Can you allow it to be without hoping for something else to happen, without looking for joy, without expecting joy, without expecting to feel like a purpose, and completely let yourself be in this not knowing? And observing the mind that absolutely want to know, because the mind wants control. But can you observe that? What is aware of that? The real you, the consciousness that you are, is aware of that. You can completely let the process be and see the joy is everything that is left when we stop the research. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please comment, leave me a little word, because it's one of my first video in English. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.